Forward to the computer. Yeah. So that's an example where complaining has worked, and I've done about 7 this week. Now, what's interesting, I've seen some new ones, which I feel like I've never seen before. So I've had one complaint this week, which I've gone to local authorities on. Let me stop sharing, which was a horse club where people in theory, there's this club, they bought 4 horses and they rent them out to club members. And I really don't know what the legal position of that is. No idea. Um, I'm getting quite a few loan ones where people are loaning horses, um, and I'm complaining about those. The law in England is quite clear, less clear in Scotland. And I've struggled in Scotland to make any traction. Although in Scotland they are looking to change the law, so I'll wait and see what happens. But in England, it's quite clear. It's not legal to loan horses for in the way that they're intending to. So um, I will pick it up again, unlicensed, and maybe. Well, we had a bit of a post this week, but let me just talk to the BF again. Has anybody else got experience of it that they want to raise? And how's it impacting you? Well, if you want to raise, if on the website, if you find somebody you want to raise a complaint about in terms of running an illegal riding school, please do go on the website, and you'll find I've got their forms that will allow you to submit a complaint. Is any Before I go on to my actual slides, is there anything else that anybody would like to raise at this stage? I'll log it for as we go along. Anybody else got a problem there that's really bothering them? Okay, all right. Well, look, let me not. I don't want to push it. So let me just share some things that are going on. This is more conversation. So if you find something that's of interest, just chip in. There's no need to not chip in. Please just chip in, and we'll pick it up. So firstly, I was just going to start off with some general office news for members. So Steph left this week. Nothing untoward. Um, just she's had to move on for some health reasons. And we've been joined by Anne Clark. So Anne's on the call. Anne, do you want to say hello? You're
Hi
probably
there.
muted.
Yeah, I'm just unmuting. Um, Nice to meet you. I'm started working, I guess, my first day today. I'm in the office tomorrow and Wednesday to get some handover done with Janice. So it'd be good to chat to you when you phone in.
Good. And what's your background? Do you want to just give a bit?
So yeah, my background. I don't know if any of you were active like back in the hoof days with the BEF, but I used to help them with funding applications and manage the hoof network, which was the aim for the BEF to get news of a lot of the stuff that George is doing now with you guys out there. I actually found the job really hard because we weren't dealing direct with membership, i.e., we had to go through the BEF and the ABRS to obviously get to the membership. And I actually found it quite frustrating back in those days, but it was a good 10 years ago. Yeah, really excited about this role because I've done a bit of consultancy. I still work with riding schools doing a bit of consultancy and coaching, and have helped lots of people apply for funding. And I guess my background is in marketing and sponsorship and PR as well. So quite an all round, and it's always been within the equestrian industry. Another brand that I've worked for is Scots of Thrapston, the stabling company, for many years and doing their PR. So yeah, really excited to get on board with you.
There's a big warm welcome to Anne. We've still obviously got Janice in the office. She's our membership manager. Still got Sue, who's doing CIEC for Jane. Catherine Mays joined us a couple of months ago. She's coming in for a couple of days a week to help out with our accounts. Catherine is the wife of Ben Mays, who joined us as a trustee, and he's our equine welfare officer. Ben is a really well-known, very highly qualified vet. Used to run, he was chairman of Beaver, used to run the riding schools committee. So really fantastic addition to us. He's also the vet for the pony club, which I think is also really useful because we can pick up stuff between the two of us. Jane, who have I missed? I've missed sorry, you're mute.
You might have a new safeguarding officer as well.
Yeah, so we've got a new safeguarding officer joining us, Tanya. So she's going to join us in September, and also the lady who does our fulfillment.
Laura Cook, who comes in.
We've got Laura Cook. Yeah, I
Who
missed
comes
Laura
in
Cook
to
off
help
there.
with the Rosetta orders and the certificates every week, and because we get some, a large number of orders at certain weeks. We are incredibly busy. I think our best ever week was when we sent out 700 rosettes in one week. Fortunately, that was just absolutely fantastic. But 300-400 a week can be quite normal. So that's great that everyone appreciates them, and that they're helping you and your clients have a fulfilling learning experience with our lovely horses.
So that's the team, and it's quite a strong team. I'm really pleased with it. So that's who you might pick up a phone if you phone the office. So what's on my agenda today? I wanted to cover about 4 or 5 items. I want to talk briefly about safeguarding. I want to talk a little bit about CIC and James on the call, who runs our CIC. I want to talk a little bit about our proposal to do an equine assisted services membership, and any feedback you've got on that would be welcome. I'm doing some work on test A to E and 1 to 10. I'll tell you what I'm trying to do and whether it's of interest and whether you're doing those tests. I want to cover the conference a little bit. And then we've just started a project called Riding Schools Future. So I'll cover all those and just chip in if you've got any questions. So start off with Liz Madeley, who was going to be on the call. I'm not sure she is. She runs for us our 2 safeguarding courses, the Equestrian Safeguarding Officers course. And I'm looking for every riding school in the ABRS to do over the next couple of years an equestrian safeguarding officers course. So all your staff that have got the directly supervised children or adults with risk should do the safeguarding for equestrians course. But if you've got and you should have a safeguarding officer, and really the safeguarding officer should do the course. It's a new course introduced by the BF this year. We've run our first course very successfully. It'll be on every 3 months. And then we've got the standard safeguarding for questions course, which is on every month. Essentially, anybody who's supervising children or adults at risk, so that would be your yard managers, your coaches, should do the safeguarding for questions course. And I say your welfare officer should be doing the safeguarding officers course. They're both BEF approved, so they're acceptable by any member of the BEF. Additionally, BF are developing a basic safeguarding awareness workshop. This will be an online thing. It's about a 1-hour online thing, and this will be available to everybody. It'll be free of charge. So the intent of that is to make those people who aren't doing proper courses, so it could be any member of your staff, it could be parents, it could even be the kids, they can go and do a safeguarding awareness course free of charge. That should be in place by about October. So the perceived gap I think we've got, and I'd be interested to know your views, is the riding school owners. So your staff are trained and you know how to respond. They should know how to respond to a safeguarding incident. The welfare officers are trained, so they should know how they should respond and how they should be flagging up safeguarding incidents. At the bottom end, we're going to have a course so that everybody knows what safeguarding is all about. But the question I've got is, do you guys know what your responsibilities are in law, what you're legally required to have in terms of policies, procedures, safer recruitment practices? So a general question before I was debating whether to run a course or put it on as a webinar. What's you guys are at the front end. Are you all comfortable that you know exactly what your responsibilities under the law for safeguarding? thumbs up if you do, or question if you don't. I'd be really interested to know because I'm thinking of doing it. Darren.
Is this different to the advanced safeguarding that BEF do?
Yeah. So the what I'm concerned about is you as a proprietor, you have legal responsibilities. That's different from responding. It's about the policies. Do you know what you're supposed to have in place? And do you know what your staff should have? Do you know about safer recruitment policies? Do you know who should be having safeguarding, who should have safeguarding, who shouldn't? That's what I'm more concerned about because I'm concerned some proprietors don't really know what they're required to do to
I
keep
think it would be
themselves.
useful to know anyway.
Okay, is that a general view? If I ran some sort of workshop, all right, I'll look at doing something. I'll probably get Liz to help me run it, and I'll try and put something together. It's the one gap I think. Everything else is, we've done a lot of work in the last 18 months, put a lot more and better training in place. Just to give you context, last month there were 65 safeguarding incidents in the BF currently running. We roughly get 5 to 10 a month. Rarely, I'm pleased to say, rarely ABRS, although I did get a safeguarding nod today for one of our schools. Normally, when I get them from the ABRS, they're normally misunderstandings, but we have had one incident. There's one ABRS school who's no longer a member, who are being taken to court. So it's not a thing that we should take lightly. It is around in equitation, and so it's really quite important. Yeah. Okay. I'll try and do something about that this year. Okay. So that's that. Let me move now on to CIC. I don't know how many of you are CICs or put your people through CIC. Jane's been doing a fantastic job running it for about 4 or 5 years now, and we're I think the third largest provider of CICs in the whole of the BF. I think dressage and jumping do slightly more than us, but we're doing more than the Pony Club or anybody else, putting roughly 50 to 60 people through coaching every year. And we've been a major provider of level 1, level 2 courses for some time. The current CIC that we provide and Pony Club do is called CIC General Riding, but there's also a dressage one and there's also a jumping one. So if you get your CIC through British Dressage, it'll be a dressage specific CIC. And the long and short is that Ofqual have said that they can't continue in the current format because there's insufficient throughput. So we think because we're doing 50, so let's say overall BF, there's probably a couple of hundred CICs going through a year. When you take that in context with everything else Ofqual's doing and the big colleges, what we're doing is quite small. And it's then subdivided into 50, 60s. So they said we can't do this. So we're going to have to have a new CIC starting roughly probably in about 18 months. So the favoured option at the moment is that there's a single CIC that all the BF do, and then there are discipline-specific certificates. There are some advantages to this. Firstly, it keeps all the BF aligned, so we'll all be doing the same thing. But the advantage is if a coach moves from one area to another, so let's say they want to do a discipline certificate for dressage, but they're a jumping person, they can go and do that CPD. So people can build up a portfolio of discipline certificates in areas other than just their core discipline. So it allows them to move. From an ABRS perspective, we're not sure we need a discipline-specific certificate. Coaching is coaching, and at the general riding level, that's what we're doing. We are thinking of trying to do an equine assisted services discipline certificate. So I'm just interested to get any views on that. I don't know if you put people through CIC or your CICs yourselves have got any views on any of that. Jane, have you got anything you want to add?
No, that was a good summary, George. Yes, and you're right. We are sort of with the data we saw, we'd put about 60 60 coaches through level 1 and level 2 in 1 year, and the British show jumping and British dressage each put through about 80 to 90. I was just delighted at that because we started out really with 2 centres running, 2 training venues running CIEC, and now we've got 7 that are all very active. And I don't know where you're all based, but we're certainly looking still to build the footprint of our training venues. So we're open to look at, particularly in the northwest, we could do with the training venue there, and we could also do with one in the southwest. And we've got Lark Hill, which is sort of centre, but one that was somewhere between Lark Hill and the Midlands, where we've got a couple of good centres, training venues. You know, we'd be very interested to discuss it with you. It's not something you can do once. It's something where you take it on, and each year perhaps you run a couple of courses, a level 1, 1 year, and then later in the year a level 2, etc. So it is a really worthwhile, I think, qualification that people can obtain. It's an alternative to the BHS. People with disabilities have been through it. We've even got a couple of people in wheelchairs qualified, and some people with weight problems can also do it because it is a coaching course. It doesn't have other elements to it. It is simply how you coach. And also the angle on the framework is that we've had so far is that it's we go through a regulator body called First for Sport, and what we do is on a regulated framework nationally and into Europe. And I'm very much going to lobby for the same thing to continue, because I think that that's the right way forward. And it also covers all sporting disciplines have a common framework. Now, we are a bit different because I don't think there's any other sporting discipline that's dependent on 2 human beings as we are. So we're coaching and you're coaching people, and it's an interaction between humans and our beloved horses. So it has a different element to training people to play tennis or cricket or football or rugby. It is different, but the principles hold good, and I think that's the important thing to remember. And for younger people as well, building a CV, if you get a coaching qualification, it does help you in many aspects, as we know, of our working lives. So it has some generic benefits to them as well, and it does encourage better communication skills, because you're always concerned about this communication has to get the right outcomes from the people that you're working with. And the moment you start that, it just continues to inculcate in your own technique. So I'm quietly quite passionate about it. And I'd love to chat with people if they're interested in being a training venue in the northwest, in the southwest, and in the central parts as well. So great to have the opportunity just to explain to you where we are and what we're trying to achieve. And I've got another quiet objective, is that we should run an L3, a level 3 course. But to give you an idea of horizons, level 3 is a 12-month course. So it does require some quite substantial technical disciplines as well, knowledge and competence in technical disciplines. Elementary dressage, or I think the jumping heights is about a metre. So that's important. And a level 2 course does take 6 months. And they do have to work in between each module of the course they do. So it is a serious qualification, and with some quite fundamental sound principles underpinning what we do. And we've got some great coaches who take the courses, very experienced, very understanding. They are good at helping the coaches develop their own professional skills. Happy to take any questions.
Anybody? Okay.
No
So
problem.
if anybody's interested, please do get in touch. I think it's generally the kids or it's not kids, it's lots of people who do find it much harder than they expect, I have to say. It's a good qualification, and I think it's very accessible. Okay, let me move on. The next thing we're trying to do, and I don't know how many of you are doing equine assisted services, we've been trying to set up a new equine assisted services membership category, really so that people can get a kite mark against EES. Now, the trouble with EAS is it's many things to many people. At one end is it's complete therapy, at the other end is hug a pony, and there's really a wide range of what people are doing in EAS. So our struggle has been, if we were to set up a category of membership, what would it mean, and what would clients actually understand? Would they understand exactly what we've approved? So we've been working with the Equine Assisted Services Partnership, EASP. They run or oversee the Human Equine Interaction Register, the HEIR, and that's becoming more or less the de facto register for people who want to do EAS. So what we're proposing to do is to set up a EAS category. We're going to become an associate member or partner to the ESP. All our members, regardless of whether they become an HIR or not, will become associate members of ESP, which is quite good because you'll get access to information, events, that sort of stuff, regardless of whether you decide to do ESP or regardless of whether you decide to become an HIR. But anybody who then enters the register, does the HIR, would then get our type mark as well. It's about £250 a year normally to do the HAR, but if you're an ABRS member, you'll get a 50% reduction on that. And we're also backing two training courses. Well, Outdoor down near me near Larkhill, they run a level 3 course, and Home Meadow up in near Lincoln is running a level 4. So I guess the question is this something of interest, do you think? Is anybody actually involved in delivering EAS?
No, but I thought you
No.
had to be a therapist to do it. So we sort of have
No.
said these are there are plenty of benefits in being with the horses, but we can't call ourselves. So that's sort of where we are. But if we could call ourselves something official, then I think that would be very useful.
Yeah. So at the right hand end there is therapy, equine assisted. So you can break it down in equine assisted therapy, equine assisted learning, and equine assisted well-being. There's really three categories. And the therapy end, you can only call yourself a therapist if you've got a qualification reported by one of the national bodies, so either a doctor, a nurse, a psychologist. And we're not proposing to tackle that end of it. There are a few people doing that, and we're not really tackling that. The equine assisted learning, which is often kids who are doing who've got statement needs, or autistic customers, autistic, homeschooling, people with well-being issues. That's the area that we believe we can tackle with teams. So what would happen is, if you want to go down this route, you apply through us to the HIR, and what you do is you specify. So they've got quite an open framework. You specify what it is you think you can deliver and why you think you can deliver it. So you specify the scope of work that you think you've got the ability to deliver, and then they'll approve you for that. And then in our membership, what we would do on the website, we would say X, Y, and Z school, they're approved for this scope of work. And you would be able to put it, you would be able, yeah, yes, it should be available in Scotland. Yeah. You should be able to put that on your website, and you'll also be able to put on that you're both an HIR member and an accredited member of the ABRS ES membership. That's what we're looking to do, because what I'm keen to do is make sure we don't end up just endorsing people, and that's why we've held off. I needed to get somebody like HIR to have our back and do the check to be satisfied that what you claim you can do, you really can do. This ties a little bit to the previous subject, which is the CIEC, because what we'd like to do is have an EAS module. So you can take an ES module as part of your CIEC, or if you've already got a coaching qualification, take it, and that would give you some of the fundamentals about how you use horses in an in an ES environment. That's what we're looking to hope to do. And in fact, Celia, who runs GUL, has offered to help us develop that part of the certificate. Probably still a couple of years off because I think it'll take a while. But I would hope by October this year we would have the ES up and running. Okay. So if people are interested in that, keep listening. Yeah, go on.
I was picking up the query in the questions about SEN.
Yeah.
And of course, recognizing SEN coaches. I
Yes, it
think,
will.
yes. Well, that, you see, that's, I was about to say that those, this new course that the equine assisted special certificate would have and would cover some of the things that are mentioned on here: ADHD, dyslexia, autism, and other SEN needs. That could probably get picked up by the new CIEC module. But having said that, though, we have had successful students on our CIEC courses who have reported and evidence that they have these similar learning needs related to ADHD, autism. In particular, we've had both of those coming in, and I think we had one student with dyslexia. So the coaches are, have skills, relevant skills in that area currently to work with students doing that, and we can wrap around that even more when we go down the equine assisted route, because we also do with the CI, some of the centres we're aware are working with young people who have behavioural issues and are and are funded to attend our training courses at their centres by the local authorities as well. So it's all beginning in a way to come together, George, is how I see it. Do you see it the same way?
Yeah. So let me wrap it into two pieces. So the HIR and our membership will approve what you can do. You'll have to evidence the HIR what you're qualified and capable of doing, and the HIR will approve you against that scope of work. The second bit is you need training. So the training will allow you to do more and therefore get you a better HIR approval. The training can be in two ways. We offer already two training courses: the level 3 course with GUL, for which you get a 30% reduction, and the level 4 training at Hope Meadows. Most people, the level 3 course that GUL are doing is absolutely perfectly fine for doing this type of activity. It's mostly distance learning with about a week down at Cedars facility down near Lark Hill. So, and then of course, what we'll then do in the longer term, we'll try and get this addition to the CIC, where you'll be trained in some of the things that Celia does on her course. That's what we're hoping to do. Okay, so that's EAS membership. Okay, my next one, test AT in 1 to 10. Does anybody on the call do test AT in 1 to 10? Any thumbs up or thumbs down? Yeah. Well, it looks like nobody does it. I think that's a real shame. I've reviewed AT last year, and I've done a further review this year, both at AT in 1 to 10. So at the bottom end, you've got the rosettes. And then above the rosettes, when you've used all the rosettes, there's test A to E. Therefore, really for your younger students, learners, and 1 to 10 is for your slightly more adult learners. 1 to 10 takes you everything from walking to complex lateral maneuvers. And if you think level 6 or level 7 is the entry qualification for CIC. So if you've got people you want to bring up to a riding standard for CIC, 1 to 10 is good to do that. ATE goes from walk to canter. It's a more compressed set of requirements done for mainly for kids. Now I'm going to come out and I'm going to just show you what it looks like. Let me just come out of this. Let's stop sharing for a second. Okay, so I should stop sharing. Let me just get up. Sorry, let me just get up these tests. So we put across there. Okay, go to A to E. Okay, so I'll show you what the syllabus looks like, and I'll show you some of the resources I'm developing. This is test A to E. Bear in mind this is now for this would be for younger kids. Let me just start off. It splits into two. It splits into equitation tests and care and welfare tests. They are cumulative tests. So you do test A, you must do test B. You can't step in at test C. You have to do them in the block because they are progressive. The test A, for example, it starts the rider's position at halt. This is a manual you can buy or give people, and the students can have this. Test B takes you through mounting block, riding without a leader on a track at walk, learning to trot. FC goes on to girth. So this is very progressive. Bear in mind this is for the younger audience. I've checked this all recently because I wanted to confirm it was compliant with the 5 domains of horse welfare and first principles of horse training. So this is the equitation tests, and when you get to the end of test 5, you'll find the kids are doing canters, changing the rein, all things you would expect, a reasonably good, maybe 10-year-old rider to be doing in your yard. We also got care and welfare tests A to E, and in these we take them through everything around back, horses, fields, mucking out, all that sort of stuff. And again, they're all progressive. And you have to do test A riding and test A care and welfare, and then you move on to test B. I've also done lesson plans. So this is the test A lesson plan to try and help people do it. So this is test A. It refers to the A to E guidelines. What I've done is I've planned 3 lessons for care and welfare, and the 4th is a lesson around checking the kids are ready for the test. So it's a kind of a wrap-up one. So lesson 1 here, safe approach to and points to the pony. I've set out what the objective of the lesson is. I've given some technical analysis on how it meets the 5 domains. I then set out what the equipment is needed for that test. I've then broken the test down into lesson stages. So welcome and context, demonstration explanation, some guided group practice, observation and peer feedback. Sometimes peer feedback is hard. And then a wrap up and Q&A. And then what I've done is said, this is what they should have been able to do at the end of that lesson in order to progress to the next one. And then I've got some key points for the coaches to observe, things like pony's emotional state during their approach, so you can assess, how the kid is looking at it. And then there's a lesson 2 and a lesson 3, all in the same format. And then a review and pre-assessment before you do the test. And this takes you through. And then what I've done at the back end, I've then given all sorts of resources. So know the parts of snaffle bridle, know the parts of snaffle bridle as a sort of crossword, some flashcards. So these you can put on a flashcard, and so you can ask the kids. It sits across the horse's forehead and keeps the bridle from slipping back, and they can pick up brow band. So there's flashcards in there. I've put in points of the horse bingo, so they can play a little bingo game using points of the horse, and there are the questions you can ask for the bingo. Grooming kit flashcards. and then it goes on to care and welfare test B, exactly the same format. And I'll be doing exactly the same for the written tests. The written test, there'll be 5 lessons plus a wrap up. So that's what we've been doing. I've tried to do this because I really think the tests are really quite good. Having reviewed them and actually looked at what they do, they are really quite good tests. And I'm disappointed that somehow they've gone out of favour. We do about 1,500 tests a year across the ABRS. In years ago, I guess it was nearer 7 or 8,000 tests a year. And for some reason, they've gone a little bit out of favour. Some of our members who are doing them are selling them as packages. So let's say test A, care and welfare, which you can do as an off the horse thing. They're selling that as a package of, the test plus the 4 lessons for, 300 quid. And so I've got schools that are selling the test as packages. I've got schools that are using the tests on pony clubs or pony days. So they're very flexible. We've got no right or wrong way to use them. You use them whatever way you want to use them.
When are these new forms, these new sheets going to be available?
Hopefully September. I've still got to finish the equitation test part of it. So I've got to do those. I've done the care and welfare, and I'm getting feedback at the moment from the coaches who are our trustees. So I may need to a little bit of updating, but I'm hoping by the end of September, or certainly by the conference, I hope to have the new test up and running at A&E, and then it may take me a little longer to do the 1 to 10 because it's more complex. And then, so that's what we're doing. Is that of interest to people?
I think so. Now I've seen the new forms, yes, because the old forms were just a bit boring, but these put it into, make it look a lot more exciting.
Okay, so go on.
Yeah, no, I think it looks very good. I hadn't really investigated it before. Could they do the care separately? Because I've got a problem with some customers that are getting very close to my weight limit, and I want to keep them involved, but I might have to take them off horses.
Yeah, so they can do. And we also have a second set of tests called the Equine Care Awards, ECAs, which are very practically based. I haven't reviewed them, so they are probably got some language in which is a little bit more old-fashioned, and I need to review them because some things I've taken out which I think are no longer acceptable from an equine welfare perspective. So I've spent a lot of effort trying to make sure these are squeaky clean from an equine care perspective point of view. They meet the 5 domains. They meet the first principles of training. I probably haven't got it totally right, but they're damn sight better than we've got. So you can do the Equine Care Awards. They're available now. The kids get a pin badge for that. They're at junior, intermediate, and senior. And then you could do the tests individually, but they don't get a badge or anything. It's a test A badge, test B. No, I haven't tried separating them out. It's an interesting question. I could talk to Jane about whether we would be prepared to do that as a separate thread. And then let me just share again. And then what they get at the moment, let me just share that. So what they get the Progressive Rider Test badge, which is it's about a 4-inch badge they can sew onto stuff. And there's a badge for A, B, C, D, and E. And we've got the same for 1 to 5 at the moment. The 1 to 5 is in red with a blue edging. So those are all available now. And the booklets, you can find them. Let me just share for a second. Sorry, was I sharing? I wasn't sure I was sharing. I wasn't sharing, was I? Share. Let me get share again. So can you see the badge? Does that come up? Or is it not sharing?
Progressive Riding Test A. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let me unshare for a second. How do I unshare? Can you see me, actually? So that's the question. If you can see me, these are the booklets that we
No,
do.
Can't see you.
Oh, okay.
It's not unshared, I don't think, George.
No, it's not letting me unshare for some reason.
Because it's got the top here, George Baber's screen.
Question.
So
Yeah. For some reason, it will not let me unshare. Let me just see. Jane, can you just see if you can unshare me? Oh no, I've got it. Got it. Stop share. There you go. It's come up. There you go. So what we've got are these two booklets. This one is the 1 to 10. It's a pretty big tome, covers the entire syllabus. And we've got a slightly smaller one for the AT. And it serves two purposes. One for the learner, we go into quite a lot of detail about what they should do. And then it's good for the coach because it tells them exactly what they're supposed to be testing. Now I'm going to be updating it all again. It should all be ready by the conference. But I think they're really good tests. I really would like to see them used. I think they're really good progressive tests. I must say that. But I don't say that because I'm trying to sell them. I actually think they are really good. And particularly if you've got clients who are goal orientated and they want to know what the next thing is, they're really good in that respect. It gives them a clear goal, the clear set of criteria, and it's quite easy to progress and see how you're progressing. So if you want to know more about it, please just give me a shout, and we can probably send you a booklet, and you can have a look through it. And the rest of it, I'll have updated by the conference, which brings me to the conference. So the conference, I don't know if you're going to be able to come. We would love to see you at the conference. It's going to be on the 19th of October. It's in between Melton Mowbray and Leicester, so in the sort of middle of the UK. And it's on equine welfare. We're calling it equine welfare at the heart of riding schools. And this is really a push because of everything that happened in the Olympics. BF strong push for better equine welfare because we're on a really bull riding's in a very dangerous area at the moment, of people potentially rejecting riding as a legitimate thing to do. So let me just stop sharing 1 second. If you want to know more about the conference, you go onto our website, and I'll find our website for you. Coming up in a second. Yeah, if you'll find on our website, if I go, I'll share that. If you go onto the website, that's all right. So there you go. That's the website page, and what we're going to cover is in here. The key bits are we'll have a keynote address. We're still sorting that out. I don't think we've got the name fully agreed yet. Jane, have we? You're mute. Whilst Jane unmutes, we'll then have a session with Jim Ayres from the BEF. He'll talk around all the issues that they're facing. We're then going to have a roundtable with the CEO of World Horse Welfare, Ben Mays, our vet, and a lady called Lisa Ashton, who's a senior lecturer at Hartbury University, and we'll talk around the 5 domains. We'll have half an hour's, general discussion around 5 domains. We then got Spiller's going to come and talk to us about nutrition, because that's one of the 5 domains. I've then got the lady coming from World Horse Welfare, Spooner's Farm. They've implemented the 5 domains model at Spooner's, and she's going to try and come and describe how they're getting on, what they found, how difficult it's been, or not difficult. In the afternoon, we're going to have a lecture demo from the president of the Master Saddlers. One of the issues is bad tack fitting, and we're going to have a little bit of discussion around that. And then we'll then have a session around the first principles of horse training, how it applies to an ethical approach to horse training. And then we'll have a couple of our riding schools will come and talk about how they're doing some of this in their own environments. So that's the conference. We've tried to keep the price the same as last year. So if ABRS members, it is £55, and for non-ABRS members, £65. On the previous night, there's a dinner at a really nice pub locally. It was really good last year, so I'm really playing for trade and hoping that something that will be of interest to you. But that's the conference. Okay, and then lastly, I want to just talk about the project we've just started, just so you know it's going on, and then I'm happy to change any ideas with you on this. So, we're just starting. We've been given a grant from BF to run what's called the Riding School Futures project, and what we're trying to do is look at how we can embed the 5 domains of first principles into everyday coaching. So what we're trying to do is hit the spot between the 5 things that affect horses, 5 things that are affecting riding schools. There's equestrianism, there's the equines, and there's environment. We're trying to hit the equine centre, where we educate riders and staff to try and improve horse culture, horse welfare, but without impacting the bottom line. And that's the trick. How do we do this but still maintain financially viable riding schools? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be enrolling 6 riding schools into the program. I've had 14 riding schools apply for it. They're all English based, I'm sorry, because the program's been funded by Sports England, so I'm not allowed to put anybody else but English riding schools on it. But the lessons are universal. We're going to target horse rider educators and instructors involved in training and handling, the management teams of the riding schools, the yard staff, and everybody else in the riding school. And what's going to happen is I'm selecting the 6 schools in August. It's going to start off with the schools. We'll go down to the World Horse Welfare Facility at Spooners and look at how they've done the 5 domains. And then each school will get 3 on-site visits from Lisa, and she will take them. She's a hugely experienced coach educator in her own right, very experienced in this area, and she will take them through a whole series of exercises that they'll then practice between sessions. In between sessions, we'll also have a social media and Zoom session, and hopefully at the end, by the end of June, all schools have had 6 on-site visits from Lisa. We've got one school up in Manchester who's been doing it for 3 months, and they tell me it's been transformational for their school. They didn't expect it to be, but it has been transformational. And so I'm really excited on this. And then the aim, we can't do all 200 members of the ABRS. So somehow I've got to get the message out, what works and what doesn't work. And that's what we're going to try and do. We'll do the sessions. And as we do each session, we'll try and work out what's working, and we'll try and share it with members so they can see whether it's applicable in their environment. Those are the training session objectives. I won't go into that in too much detail. Also, we're running, we've got a discount from the University of New England for the 5 domains course that they're running. It's a brilliant course. It's worth 6 CPD points from the BHS and others. We've got a 50% discount on the course. ABRS alone, nobody else has been given this. And if you I talk about the 5 domains. If you're not totally familiar with this, I would strongly recommend this course. You can access it through Ticketail and through our website. I really recommend it. It's a brilliant course. Okay, so let me unshare. I've done a lot of talking. I'm not sure if I've. Conference on the 20th. You're on the 20th. You're right. Conference is on the 20th. The dinner's on the 19th. But we haven't got the keynote speaker yet. So that's kind of all I had. Is there anything else anybody would like to ask? I was hoping it'd be more interactive. So if there's anything wants to ask, I kind of transmitted it at you, and I do apologise. Anything anybody's got that they are interested in asking, or anything you think I've missed, or anything you'd like us to do, anything we're not doing? We value your membership, and we recognise that nobody is pressed to be a member. It's 300 quid out of your pocket. We're not doing what you want us to do. We really want to know about it. So, any views? Everybody happy?
I was just thinking, any specific views on this new approach to riding schools? The three angles, which was the environment, the equines, and what's the third one, George?
It's environment, equines, and riding establishment. No, riding establishments.
Okay. And any thoughts on that when you look at that? Any first reactions? What does it mean?
Equestrians, sorry, it's equestrians. So we're trying to tackle how do you make equestrians? What we're trying to do is say, if we don't train our future riders to understand equine welfare or how to ride correctly in the most equine welfare way, how will we ever progress? So we want to target our coaches, and through our coaches, try and target all our new riders so that they ride in the very best possible way. At the same time, if we do that, we can also tackle our equines, because if our riders and coaches are sympathetic to the way you need to ride, then the equines will benefit as well. And then there's an environmental portion to this as well. So that's what we're trying to do. I'm not very good at describing it because it's quite complex, but any thoughts on any of that? Okay. All right. Well, look, firstly, is it worth me doing this first time I've done one for a long time? Is this worth doing? Would you like me to do it once?
There's a question there from Sharon, sorry. George.
Okay.
Or something.
There's a thumb up from Sharon.
Is that?
Oh, that's very kind of you, Sharon. Yeah, very kind. And Sharon's a new member, actually, and we've got our first Zoom meeting next week just to go through what we can do for her.
Yeah, welcome,
so thank
Sharon.
you. Thank you, Sharon.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, we're really excited to be joining you, or to have, well, we are on the way. But yeah, already, just from the few things I've been able to look at, what I've heard in this meeting, some of the resources I've had a chance to look at, we have our license renewal on Wednesday, so we're thick in the middle of that at the moment, and I'm kicking myself that I hadn't joined earlier, because so much I've already found as a resource that would have helped us through this process. So yeah, really excited to be joining the ABRS, and looking forward to everything that we can hopefully do.
Good. I mean, good luck on
Great
your
stuff.
license.
Thanks, Sharon.
Yeah, really good luck, because we find a mix of ways that riding establishments behave, and if you ever need support, just give me a shout. So one of our schools in Cornwall just had a very torrid time with their licensing inspector, very difficult time, and we also have one over in Essex, which in the end I went over to Essex and actually stood there while she did the inspection. I've never seen a licensing inspector more suddenly concerned that she was being inspected. If you have a problem, Sharon, do give me a shout, and if I can do anything, I will help.
There's also I feel a lot of help being given, obviously down in England, but we feel a bit sort of left out up here in Scotland. We don't seem to get anything.
I agree. It's an issue. We're conscious of this, and we are trying to find a way forward. The first thing we really need is a Scottish rep, an ABRS member of the trustee board, who we used to have one, who can speak up for the Scottish members and bring the specific Scottish issues to our attention. What I probably haven't said is I have been involved in some of the stuff that's going up in Scotland. I've been involved in the consultations over the new riding school or whatever they're going to do. I've been involved in the discussions and stuff with liveries. And Jane had a meeting, was it last week, Jane? With the Scottish government?
I had a meeting with Horse Scotland, and they're coming back to me tomorrow. We were talking about developing some work together on CIEC, we were talking about whether or not we could overlap on our livery yard membership. And then, all being well, you'll find me at Scone, at the horse trials at Scone. I will be there on a stand with World Horse Welfare and Pony Club. And the stand is, it's been organised in conjunction with Horse Scotland. So if you find the Horse Scotland stand, you'll find me there. I'll be there for the 3 days. I'll be there all of the days, probably the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, probably not on the Sunday. But if you're there on those 3 days, make your way to the stand and you'll find me there.
Is there any news at all? I'm sorry to keep interrupting. Any news at all on the new licensing system, when it might be coming in up here?
No, I've been pressing and pressing. They still haven't published the legislation in a draft format. So I don't know. What we believe will happen, well, so what we don't know is how similar it'll be to the English legislation in terms of multiple years, which is what I think it should be. The difficulty we often have in Scotland is the Scottish government often doesn't want to do anything that looks remotely like what goes on in England for probably political reasons, but whatever it is. We believe they've backed away from licensing livery yards, but will go for registration. And in my consultation with them, in principle, I think it's a good idea. My real worry is that a lot of people who are currently providing livery will just not bother because registration will be just too much of a faff for the level of return they get. And what do you register? Do you register somebody's field because they've got one horse in it? Where does it make sense? So we've not been given the feedback yet from the Scottish authorities on how they plan to do it. But I put in some fairly strong consultation guidance from us, saying what I felt was the issue. You also have problems over enforcement. So I've been complaining about two loan yards in around Edinburgh. The council are saying we don't enforce it. You need to go to the Scottish police to enforce it, and the Scottish police really aren't interested because it's a low priority. So there's some real issues around in Scotland about how some of this stuff's enforced, how it's fair on people who are putting the effort in to get riding school licenses. But I absolutely agree. I don't think we're doing enough for you in Scotland. And if there's things you think we can do for you, please just give me a shout. And I would desperately like to have somebody from our Scottish schools to join us as a representative, so we get a direct feedback about what's specifically bothering Scottish schools.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but I don't know. Are you going to Scone?
No, I won't be able to go, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it is the middle of the holiday season. That occurred to me. But I thought it's such a big event. A lot of people will go. So I thought
unfortunately it's several hundred miles away from where we are, so it's not that
that's
easy.
too far. Where are you?
I'm up between Aberdeen and Inverness.
Oh yes, I know. Yes, I've got some friends on Orkney, so yeah, we go right up there. Okay,
Yep.
I know. Yeah, that's a long drive to Perth. That's about 3-4 hours, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a shame.
I used to be at Lossiemouth
Oh, right.
for 5 years. Yes. All right. Please, I tell you, outsiders, do feel free to give me a ring on 07 585 301 454. I'm absolutely happy to talk about it.
Do you want to put that in the chat, George, for a minute?
Yeah, we are deeply concerned about the fact that it's not just Scotland, it's Wales as well, that we're not catering well enough for the specific needs of the other nations. It tends to end up being English focused because that's where the money. I get a lot of money from
Sport England.
And I don't get much money from the other nations. But that's not an excuse for not doing, not supporting you. So my number's in there, and if you want to talk through, I'm absolutely up for it. Is any other thing that anyone would like to raise?
Could I just say a quick, just final bit as well, if anyone hasn't got any
Yeah,
other
Anne.
questions? Is that okay?
Yes, go ahead, Anne.
The other thing that I didn't mention in my little opening bit is that one of the parts of my role is to work on livery yard membership. And I don't know how many of you guys on the call today run liveries alongside the riding schools, or if it's mixed, but just, is that one of you? Is that Sharon? Is it any of you just all wave or just say, just so I know roughly like what the mix is? But
Yeah, I do. Yep.
do okay, because again, I would really like to just, I run a livery yard myself, so I've got a 23 horse yard, so I really understand as well about it from that perspective. So I just want to hear, be open to people to reach out to me about that. So yeah, just give me a shout if you've got any ideas on what we can do.
I agree. I know, and it's one of the other issues. Neither BHS nor us have very, very many livery yard members. And the truth is, it's hard to offer something that's a valuable service. So what we really want to do is understand how we can help. Because if we can't help, then I would recommend you don't join us. If we can't help you, it's a waste of money. So we really want to understand how we can help. Otherwise, we're just wasting your time and money, and I'm not prepared to do that. It's not fair on you. Hard enough, life's hard enough as it is. So feedback to Anne, that would be absolutely great.
Okay.
Okay, and
Just
and Laurie,
my last question is just about the rosettes and tests. Does everybody here find them useful, or the sort of three things? Yes, I find them useful. No, I don't know anything about them. Or no, they're not what we do because we do something else. It would just be quite useful to get a quick bit of feedback, please. Yes, there's a couple of people coming in about the rosettes and tests.
Yes, they are useful.
Thank you. That helps me. Sharon?
Yeah, well, I mean, being new, we're just coming into all of this, but having read about the rosettes previously, definitely want to adopt that program. As I said, at the moment, I'm literally just running with everything and looking at all the options, but I see a future for us with the rosettes and the A to E and 1 to 10. It's just about putting it in place to make it work with what we're already doing. So it's going to bring some formality to it. And I'm also just on the side very excited about the equine assisted learning aspects, because like one of the other schools had already mentioned, I think we already have a lot of SEN students, homeschoolers who homeschool because they have neurodivergent issues. So that for us is also an incredibly valuable potential tool. So definitely embracing as much as I think is one of the reasons I've joined, from what I had understood about what was offered to enable us.
Other question. Oh, it's interesting, Sam. Yeah, and the revamped test good, and thanks, Jane. That's very kind of you. One other question I'd ask is, how many of you use digital booking systems? Do you use EC Pro or one of these others?
No, I'm still the old-fashioned diary.
Is anybody using digital booking? So one of the other things we're looking to do, and hoping it'll roll out this year, maybe early as October. I'm hoping to roll out a booking system similar to EC Pro, similar to equestrian systems, at about £40 a month. Would that be of interest to anybody who's currently got one? But I think it'll be about £40 a month. We're developing it with a supplier because I think the current booking systems are too expensive, and I think they're too expensive, quite honestly. So we hopefully we will do it. I've just got to make sure it's 100% right before we roll it out. But that's what we're hoping to do, and hopefully before the end of the year, maybe as early as October, it'll be ready. It's already in test. But it still needs a bit of fettling to get it right. Okay, perfect. All right. Well, look, it's gone past, and I don't want to keep anybody any longer. If this was useful, I'll schedule another one sometime towards the conference time. Thank you so much for taking up your evening. I hope it's been useful.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Good to
Take
see
care.
everyone. Really good
Thank
to see
you.
you. Have a great evening now and the best of summer to come. Here we go. Take care now.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.